Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to see how to install the Eveng on your VMware workstation, and later on we'll see how to import the Checkpoint SMS Smart Manager server and the Checkpoint gateway on the Eveng. Right. So the prerequisite is you should have the VMware workstation. I have a separate video on how to install the VMware Workstation Pro. And once you have the VMware Workstation Pro, like I have this one, and then you have to basically install the Eveng as a VM in your workstation. Now you have multiple options. You can install the Eveng on the VMware ESXi if you have a server like that, bare metal. Also you can do bare metal installation, but in this video we will see how to install this Eveng on the VMware workstation. Now I have the VMware Workstation Pro. This is running on version 16. And once you have this, the first thing that you need is the image of Eveng. Now you can directly go to this Eveng website, and they provide the they basically have two versions. One is the community, which is free, and then you have the professional, which is a paid one. Now we can work with the community edition, and it works quite well. Now in order to download the image of Eveng, you can go to the Eveng website and click on the downloads option here. Once you have the download section open, you have multiple options here, right? You can see. So two things you need to download. One is the Eveng Community Edition and the Windows client side. Now you need Windows client side for multiple reason, because you have this is a package meant for the Windows, and it has multiple softwares which which does a better integration of Eveng with your client machine. Okay, so let's download the community edition. Click here and it takes you to that particular section. Now here you have multiple options to download the community edition. Now you can do this with the OVF file, and you can also do through the ISO. I would recommend you to do the OVF because this OVF is like a template. You don't need to do any changes regarding the virtual machine settings. So these two are the links to download the OVF. Now based on the speed and sometimes, because what happens is the Google Mirror is not working because of multiple downloads and all, you can also download this from the mega link. So I'll open both of them like this, and you can go and click on download on the Google, or you can also go and download from the mega. So I've downloaded from the Google and I'm waiting for this to download. This is the new version which has been recently released, the 5.0, and we will wait for the download to complete. Once the download is complete, we can go and start the installation. Now I'll go here and the download is started. So I'll just pause the video here and come back when the download has completed. Okay, now that we have the Eveng Community Edition downloaded, let's go to the downloads folder. And now you can see it is in a zip folder. So you should have an extraction software like WinZip or WinRAR. So I have WinZip. I'll right click and extract this using the Win7zip, sorry. Or you can just extract to this as a folder. Now once the extract is complete, you should have the OVA file or the OVF file. Okay, so I'll go and start inside this Eve community 5.0 folder, and I can see these three files inside. Now I need the OVF file. VMDK is basically the disk that we need, but OVF is like a template. You can just select that. For example, now to go and install the Eveng inside VMware Workstation, you can just go in the VMware Workstation and click on File and have as a new virtual machine, or you can go here and double click on this one, OVF folder, and it will automatically open up here. Now you have to name this. You can name it anything, like I can say Eveng ZB Networks, Okay, and this is the default storage path. Basically, it goes into the C documents and the virtual machines folder. Inside that, you will see the the same name that you type in here will make a folder, and then all the files will be saved inside that. Now, if you want to change this, you can just change it from here, click on browse, but I'll keep it as it is and click on import. Now you need to wait for the virtual machine to be imported successfully, and then we can just start working with this. So let's wait. I'll just fast forward this so that the Eveng is installed, and then we can use it. Okay, now you can see you have the Eveng imported inside your VMware workstation. Now we will go and edit this. This is the default settings that has been done in the OVF template. Now we can click on any of the device hardware. I'll click on the processor and it'll open up the virtual machine settings. I will reduce the processor to say 2 processors, and then have the virtual Intel VTX enabled, and then memory is you can keep around 4 also, but I'll go with 8, and later on I can reduce it, but let's go with 8 for the Eveng, or if you have more you can go with that. I can go with 16 as well, but for my machine 8 is enough. And then hard disk 60, and you can even go more than that, because it depends on how many devices you are gonna add inside the Eveng, that because that will add up to your storage. And the networking adapter is set to bridged. That is how you have to keep it as bridge, so that you can connect to this or access this from your local PC. Now you can have more than 2 processors depending on what you have. So for example, to check the processors, you can just right click on the taskbar and click open the task manager. To check the process that you have in the system, click on performance, go to your CPU, click here, and you can see, as you can see, I have 8 logical processors, so I can use up to 4 cores. So I'll just increase that to 4. I have 2 processors basically, and cores I have say I'll go for 2, and then that equals to 4 cores, right? Processors that I'll use. Okay, let's click on OK. That's it. Now I will power on this virtual machine. Now, by default, this will take the IP from the DHCP, but I will show you how to statically assign an IP address as well. So at this moment, you can see the IP address that the Eveng virtual machine has taken is 192.168.1.4. Now this could change based on the subnet that is on your LAN, on your router, Wi-Fi, whatever you are using. So at this moment, I can access the GUI of the Eveng like this as well. So if you want to keep it like this, you can just keep it as is and start using the Eveng. So the default username is going to be root, and the password is E for the CLI, and for the GUI it's admin and EAP. So let me go and access this URL or the IP address from my browser, 192.168.1.4. Hit enter, and this opens on HTTP. Make sure you are not using HTTPS. Then for the GUI, it's admin and EVE, all small letters, and you are inside the Eveng console. Now to log into your CLI, you have to use root and EVE. Okay, now I'm inside the CLI. So for the first setup, it will basically prompt you for the wizard, and through the wizard you can change the default settings like the password, the IP address and all. So for example, let's go and change the IP address and the password. We'll not change the password, but yeah, you can do it here. Now you have to type the root password, which is by default EVE. I will use the same EVE. and then you can change the host name. Now I have set it up as what, EVE and hyphen ZB networks, right? So I can do that. Hit enter, and domain you can just keep it blank, and then here you can specify, are you going to use the DHCP settings as by default is selected, and if you want to go for static, just press down the down arrow and the space bar, and you can see the asterisk sign moving on to the static part, and hit enter. Now here you have to specify the static IP address that you want to assign to the EVNG. Now it should be something from the LAN itself, but which is not used by any other machine, right? So I'll go for 192, say 192.168.1.199, and then the subnet mask is basically /24 in my LAN, and the default gateway is 192.168.1.1 for my LAN. Okay, primary DNS, I'll use the Google DNS, enter, and secondary also I can use the Google DNS. NTP you can just set it like this, or you can set it to your router and then hit direct connection if you're not using any proxy and all. As I am not using any proxy, this is my home network, I'm just using direct connection through the router. Okay, now let's wait for the EVNG to reboot, and once it is rebooted, now this was opening on 1.4. now it will not work because I have changed the IP address statically to 1.199, and you will see this on the console message as well. So you can see here it says the default GUI has been changed to HTTP 192.168.1.199, and if I refresh this one, it will not work. So I have to change the IP address here. Just I have to add 199 at the end, and yeah, and the username password is still the same. I have not changed it. You can do it through the wizard. Now in case you want to so I'll log into the CLI as well, root EVE. Now in case you want to again change it, so there's a command that I will show you, which is rm-f/opt/ovf dot configured like this, or it's like /dot configured if I remember correctly. No, it's not that. It's basically, I think, yeah, this one. Now once you do this, and then you have to hit a reboot, and then again the wizard will run from the beginning like we did. Okay, and then you can go on and change the static IP to something else. Now make sure when you turn off this VMware virtual machine, you don't do it like this, like power on and shut down, or power off like this. This could basically corrupt the database that EVNG uses. Okay, let me just log in, root EVE. Yeah, like this, it will again start the initial wizard, EVNG, hit OK, and I will go for DHCP static, not DHCP 192.168.1.199. I'll stick to the same IP. I'll just go through this quickly, which I did already, and direct connection. Now to shut it down, I would recommend you to use the Linux way of doing it, a graceful shutdown, by using the command shutdown -h now, and likewise you could basically not corrupt the database by kind of forcing the shutdown, like illegal shutdown side of things. So you can go to root and EVE, and to shut down you can use shutdown -h now whenever you want to turn the VM off, right? This is the command that you should use. Okay, now that we have the workstation, the VM setup, we can go to the GUI here, and this is where you can add new projects, or you can say labs. I'll click on add lab and say this is my checkpoint lab, right? You can just enter the details here and save. Now this is the area where you work. You can right click and you have multiple options here. You can add nodes, you can add networks, pictures, custom shapes and text and auto align. We will see this um, one by one. Now to add a node, you just click on node and you can see all these nodes are available to add once you add them first inside the EVNG. Now by default you only have the VPC here. I can click on VPC and save, and this will basically add the VPC here, and I can start the VPC. This is just you can say as a virtual PC which you can use for testing and all. It opens up in the console like this. If you double click on it, now depending on whatever terminal you're using, I'm using secure CRT, you might be using putty and all, it will open up that. Before doing this, now you have to download the other software, which is the Windows client side, this one. This is basically the integration pack which includes all these softwares which will be useful for you in the lab. So I'll click on this integration and download this from the Mega, or I think we have a Google Drive also for this. So I can just go on here and download this and install it quickly on my system. I'll close the all other tabs here. Now if the Google Drive is not working, like I can see on my side, then I can go for the Mega as well, Mega link. Sometimes you have more traffic on the Google Drive link, so you can go here on the Mega side and download that from here as well. Or yep, so I'll just close the Google one, and now let the EVNG client pack download from the Mega drive. Okay, now it has been downloaded. I'll go and install it quickly. It's just a simple wizard, setup wizard, like you install any application on it. You just go with the default settings, hit next on the wizard, English, and then I can set up the Ultra VNC. I agree, next, full installation, next, install, and continue with the installation like that. I will just uncheck this and go, and it will continue with the installation of other tools, like I have this. So I will say no on this, and next. This is installing the Wireshark. If you want to capture traffic between devices in your lab, you can use Wireshark. So this is a very useful tool to debug and to t-shoot, or to learn the concepts that we learn in real world and to practice that on the lab side. This is a very handy tool. So this will install the Wireshark as well. Make sure to install the integration pack before adding any devices into the EVNG. Okay, now that this is installed, now the double click should work. I mean, for me it was working already because I had the older version of the integration pack installed. For you guys, it will only work after installing the integration. You may need a reboot, so make sure you do that.